Hope you're having an awesome day. It's marvelous Monday. And my name is David, and today we are going to be chatting about digital marketing and how it can change people's lives. So, this message today is for all the shift workers out there. This one is for you guys because I've been there, and Mondays, shift work, that can be tough. I understand. Going from afternoons to nights, nights to days, or vice versa, however it works for you. I've been there, I've done that, and that just totally, it sucks. Plain and simple, guys. I understand that. I used to work in private security, and I was always on call, so, I'd finish one shift in the evening, and then first thing in the morning, get a phone call saying, hey, we need to cover this shift. Or, I'd be finishing one and they'd be calling the site and saying, hey, you need to go over here and do this for a couple hours, after doing, a 12-hour shift. Well, I remember those days. And I remember all the things that I missed. I remember, all the parties, all the events, all the special moments that I missed because I had a JOB that I had no choice in the matter. They called, you went. My wife and I, you know, we saw very little of each other because she had her job, I had mine, which was, you know, on call and, usually nights, and she worked during the day. And so, we were kind of two ships passing in the night. And, we realized that things had to change. And, I think the moment that changed everything for me personally was the night that my wife and I decided we wanted to go out for a while. And we went to the bank to take out some money. And we had to transfer money between two accounts just so we could take out $20. And I remember that. And I remember feeling pretty low about that. I remember thinking, there's got to be more to life than just this, right? There has to be more out there. I see people on the internet making money. I see people changing their lives. And I'm thinking, they're no smarter than you or I. And I was like, okay, we need to make some changes. So I found the MLM world. And let me start off by saying that I'm very thankful to it because it changed my life. Okay. Now, there were some problems with it. The first one was that I was always on the phone. And, if I wasn't working, I wasn't making money. And that kind of got to me because here I was wanting more freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, it changed my life. I replaced my income after 6 months of working very hard and that. But I realized that if I wasn't buying products, then I wasn't making full income, right? Every month buying products. Now, some of these products were awesome and I loved them, but there were some problems with that. After a while, they kind of stock up. You're supposed to sell them and everything. And sure, I could sell some, but I always seemed to have more than what I needed. Another problem was that if I wasn't making X amount, the money went up to my upline. And I don't know about you, but I hated losing money. Another problem was that if my team wasn't working, then I wasn't making income, right? And, it got really tiring in that way. And, I realized that things had to change. But I think the day that everything changed for me personally was when the company sent out a massive email and said, hey, congratulations on all your hard work. We appreciate everything you've done for the company, but we are changing the way we're building our business. And that means you need to change everything as well. So everything that I built over the last, I don't know, I guess it was 4 years I was with the company, everything I built, 4 or 5 years with the company, it went away like that. And I realized that I didn't actually have my own business. I was just another form of a job, a little more freedom. So I got out of that and I searched for a bunch of other things. And I had my ups, I had my downs, everything, guys. Like I said, MLM world, I have nothing but high praise for. But I got to a point where I realized that this just wasn't working for me. I was thinking about going back to a JOB, something I didn't want to do. And just by chance, I saw a Facebook post from a mentor of mine. He was talking about this digital business thing. So I messaged him. I said, hey, I saw you this post you did. What's it all about? He says, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to my website. You're going to put your email in. You're going to watch some videos. You're going to get a 10K and 30-day blueprint, absolutely free. You're going to go through all the information. And then, you're going to make the decision to get started. And if you have any questions, message me and we'll chat. I said, okay, that's fair. I like that. It's duplicatable. It's the same thing that I can have everybody else do. So the first thing I liked that I saw was it was a 2-hour workday. Now that really excited me because we're all busy, especially Gen Xers, right? You have family, you have kids, grandkids, you have aging parents, you have work, you have responsibilities. I get it. I've been there. So a 2 hour workday, I realized that anybody can find 2 hours throughout a day. Whether it's 2 hours straight or an hour here and there, it just means a little sacrifice. Like, okay, that made sense to me. Next thing I liked was its automation. I love that this business works in the background. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a push and go and forget about it, right? You still have to do the work. But when you're done your 2 hour workday, the business keeps working in the background because of automation. So it's sending out the emails, it's sending out the videos, it's helping people getting started. It's doing all that heavy lifting for you in the background. So imagine this for a moment, guys. Imagine that you're sleeping and you wake up in the morning and you look at your phone and it says, hey, congratulations, you got a new sale. Or you're out for dinner, or you're out, at the kids' baseball game and you get notifications that you're making income while you're living your life. That's the cool thing about this. Now, there's so many cool things. Another thing I really love about this, guys, is we have this huge community, okay, from people all over the world. Right now, we are over 60,000 people from all over the world who are following this blueprint, who are following this exact same plan, and they're building their businesses. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Canada, US, Mexico. It doesn't matter if you're in Europe, Australia, South Africa. People are building their businesses because they're following this plan. And this community is so supportive, guys. They stand behind you. They encourage you. They answer questions. It's a welcoming feeling, right? And that's something I really loved about this business. I love the fact that there are 4 streams of income in this business, guys. So that, just imagine you're getting started and you get 4 streams of income to start with. When I was in the MLM world, we had 1 stream of income, right? And now 4, that just blew my mind. I was like, okay, so there's 4 different opportunities to make income. Right now, for me personally, guys, I started at the top of this because I wanted to make as much profit as possible. But you can start anywhere on those 4 levels that you want. And if you start at the first, second, third, or fourth, that's totally up to you. You start at the second and you want to get up to the fourth, you can upgrade at any time. No extra costs. It's not like, oh, you start here, you're stuck there. You can upgrade at any time you want, right? Now, guys, this business isn't just about income, okay? This is about options. This gives you options to do more, to live more, to be free, to do the things that you want to do. So for some of us, it was walk away from the job. For me, I was burnt out. I used to work private security and I was contracted with immigration here in Canada to go around to all the jails throughout Ontario, pick up all the non-Canadians who couldn't behave themselves and put them across the border or help put them back on planes and watch them leave. And for 11 years, I did that. And, at first it was a lot of fun, but after a while it burned me out. I was totally burnt out. I was exhausted. I was not a happy camper. That was one of those moments where I realized that things had to change. Let me just turn this a little bit. There we go. So I knew that things had to change, right? And that's one of those things. And I know a lot of people that are, worried about their job. I mean, you look at the economy today, you're always seeing things where businesses are closing all of a sudden, an airline stops all of a sudden, businesses are closing. I know a gentleman that I worked with was with the same company for 40 years. New management came in. The first thing they did is said, thanks for all your service, but we are going to force you to retire now. And, just out of the blue, you just never know what's going to happen. So wouldn't it be nice to have a backup plan, to have something there just in case, so you're prepared? Because, a lot of people think, well, yeah, I'm secure. I've had this job a long time. The company can't survive without me. But let me tell you, if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, that company would turn around and hire somebody else in a heartbeat. Wouldn't even think twice, right? You're just a number to them. What's more important? You have to start asking yourself, what's more important, the job or your health, your life, your family? Wouldn't you rather spend more time, with the family? Wouldn't you rather spend more time getting up late in the day, having a coffee, sitting back, relaxing, and starting your day like at 10 o'clock like I did today? Wouldn't you like to be able to, grab the kids and say, hey, we're going on a road trip, or hey, we're going to Disney all of a sudden, right? Wouldn't you like to have that freedom? That's the type of freedom I'm talking about here. That's what's important, at least to me and to most of the Gen Xers that I speak with. They want to have that option to have more time, right? A lot of Gen Xers now, we have grandkids, right? And we want to make sure that we're there for them, and we want to make sure that we can provide more, and we want to be able to be more in their lives than maybe we were with our kids because of our job. So this gives us lots of options, lots of opportunity to change lives. So, guys, if you are interested, if this has hit home just a little bit, do me a favor. Click the link in my profile, put your information in, okay? Grab the 10K and 30-day blueprint, watch the videos, okay? So you can make an informed decision. Get started, okay? The only way life is going to change is if you make a change. And this is the opportunity to make that change. Guys, I appreciate your time today. I hope that you're having an awesome day, and I promise to talk to you again very soon. And by the way, welcome and hello, Tam Tam Dance. I see you there. Anyways, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.